what we need to do is to really, the product needs to fit to these merchants more than anything. It's about learning from your customers. I think once we get a sign up, we know our customers, we talk to them, we know their pain point. So it's actually easier to manage the merchants.
I can see a lot of categories, on Lendor. Could you just, share with us what are the most common use cases or, scenarios for Lendor?
Okay, so we actually break down into our customer profile in the three broad categories. So number one is essentials, right? So for example, we get a lot of renters of laptops. Essentially the reason that the use case is because they need it as a replacement, because they just send their MacBook to Apple Care, or the parts take some time and they need one to continue their work or their study, right? So that's essentially the first big use case, right? Essentially, I just need it as a replacement to get on with my life, right? Then the next one is experiential, right? So this is also a very big use case. People want to experience something, and so take for example, you have a weekend party. I think our karaoke set and also our gaming set are one of the top hot sellers, right? A weekend you have some friends over, not more than 5, and then you just want to have an activity together and have a good experience. You can rent those on a platform, a gaming console, have some friends over. So that's more experiential, but we also discovered there's also another side of the experiential, which is they want to experience the product first before buying. So which means that just take for example PlayStation 5. We had one customer came to us, rented PS5. They wanted to see whether it's suitable for his or her family or not, right? So no parties. They just want to experience that product. It's a new product in the market, and at the end of the day, came back to us and say, return the product to us and say that, hey, this renter actually helped him make a decision not to buy a PS5, right? Because it's a wrong. I think he has a young children, and realized that tried the games not suitable for his family, right? So then we realized, hey, actually, if you take a look at our platform right now, we launched a new service as well. Help us to discover that we can actually prevent people from buying stuff, right? The experience in the past, I'm pretty sure if it was in the past, he was simply aborted, play and then discover it's not for his family, and then have to figure a way to go and sell it away. So we actually managed to prevent a sale in that sense, right? Prevent a linear economy being the take, make, and throw approach. And because of that, today, a couple of, I think earlier this week, we actually launched a new service called Try Now, Buy Later. We had a collaboration with Xiaomi, and we're looking to expand this further, because we want to help users to experience the product before they actually commit into buying. Because a lot of times you buy the wrong product that doesn't suit you and your need. I think that is also waste, right? So that's the second category on experiential, and the last one will be more events, right? There's events being held. So this is more a lot of B2B use cases where companies come to us. They really don't want to make that capital investment to buy so many things for that event for that last 2 or 3 days. So they come to us, they give us that list of assortment. What do you need? Tables and chairs and camera equipments and whatever for an event to get going, and we will help them through our network of suppliers get all the products for them, and they can save a lot of money, right? Essentially. So it's essentially these three categories of customers we're seeing on our platform. Yeah.
Interesting. That's very insightful. So just so you mentioned about pivoting from P2P, right, to merchants, right? Basically. So how do you really decide on that? Because that's a huge pivot.
So for us, right, we face a lot of challenge with P2P. When it comes to marketplaces, it's about supply and demand, right? able to manage the two stakeholders well and striking that balance. So we discovered that having P2P, the supply portion was very hard to manage, right? Because you're talking about individuals. At the same time, as we launched, right, we discovered actually around 50 businesses actually sign up with us, right? And that's where we discovered that actually these businesses, once they list, right, they list maybe 100 items, 50 or 100 items. And then P2P, they only list like 1 or 2 items, and having to manage that is very difficult, right? So the decision was quite easy, to be honest, because with so many businesses sign up with us, what we need to do is to really, the product needs to fit to these merchants more than anything, right? And then, so I would say it's about learning from your customers. I think once we get a sign up, we know our customers, we talk to them, we know their pain point. So it's actually easier to manage the merchants. Most of these are businesses. Some of them have done rentals before. So when it comes to fulfillment, we also don't need to worry about the experience of our customers, right? Whether they are, do they get a good experience? Because some of them, they have their own customers as well, so they know how to deal with them. So in that sense, by doing this approach, I think we are doing the ecosystem approach, right? Building the ecosystem up, having all these merchants work with us closely, keeping it updated. Then we can get a good experience from the landies, and therefore we can, once the experience is good, then we can scale up and essentially have our service to say that this have good reviews on our platform and things like that. I think it all ties up, right? So that was the thought process, and that was what happened last year. Yeah.
Thanks. This is super insightful. It's good to learn that from you as well. And the next question is super common, right, for any rental space. But I just want to hear that, hear from you, how do you manage or mitigate the risk of product being damaged or being lost? And could you shed some light on building trust, right, between the parties involved?
Yes, so you are very right, because we did our study, and 87% of our users, whether they are individuals or businesses, 87% of them are actually concerned about misuse and damage, right? So this is the number one problem that we had to fix. So how we have approached that is, if you take a look at our platform, we assure that our merchants, that customers that come to us, right, go through a rather stringent KYC process. So because we are based in Singapore, right, the KYC process we have right now is an integration with MyInfo SingPass, and I would say that we are through this tech, we are actually able to score the customer. And the price range of our products differ, right? We have very expensive lenses that cost $20,000. Of course, we have a cheaper range where you're probably just renting a very cheap laptop that is probably just worth $200-300. We use technology to help us with that, right? By scoring customers. And at the same time, that's step one. At the same time, we also have, we have tied up a partnership with Igloo Insurance. So what happened is we tell merchants all these products will be insured by a third party, right? If there's any damage, right, and any repair costs, we call it protection guarantee. So there's this amount protection guarantee on your product. Right, so with this, after we launch this, or after we implement this KYC in May, we didn't see a drop in our traffic or our transaction. In fact, we see an increase. But since then, we have not had defaults or lost. We do have damages, but they are all compensated with the protection guarantee. So in that sense, that's how we tackle this issue.